Okay, so this is a reaction about more British political stuff, although, the monarchy is technically not political because it's not really a government role. But anyways, before I react to this video, King Charles cancels Easter message, promotes Islam instead. I'm going to give you a little bit of context. So Ali Tabrizi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, he is an Orthodox Christian of English and Iranian heritage. So that is the background of the video creator for this video before we go in. Okay, so let's make it big and let's go.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Good to have you here. In today's episode, we're going to be talking all about the traitorous King Charles and how he has completely abandoned Christianity and has jumped ship towards Islam. Now, during the course of this...
Yeah, notice these labels. This image is not AI. Yes, not AI.
Video, I'll explain why he's doing this and why it has to do with the preservation and the survival of the British monarchy.
Okay, so this image is AI here.
Due to the falling birth rates of Christians in the UK and the influx of Muslims. And in order to stay in power, he's going to have to either adopt Islam or get rid of the British monarchy, which is tied into the Church of England. Like, you can't have the two things at the same time. And so that's why we are going to see the Islamification of the British royal family. But let's get into the video. So Buckingham Palace has confirmed that King Charles will not issue an Easter message this year.
Yeah, when I heard this news, I was like, oh, wow, that's really shameful. And for context, this is shortly after Easter. So this today that I'm watching this is the Thursday after Easter Sunday. Let's go.
On the contrary, we have seen many messages now from the palace, from King Charles, celebrating and honoring and saying that we're thinking of the Muslims this holy month of Ramadan, not only this year, but for many years in a row now. So we're just going to watch one of these clips. It's particularly cringy. I find it very difficult to watch. It's filled with these soggy, wet, desperate platitudes. But nevertheless, I'm going to show it to you anyway.
Salam. Yeah, so King Charles has become known for these things where he goes ahead and he gives these like Ramadan messages and he really overpraises Islam, and at the same time he puts down Christianity. So even though as the monarch of England, as the King of England, he has a ceremonial duty to be the head of the Church of England. So the monarchy is technically not a government position. It's technically just a ceremonial position involved with the Church of England, and it's basically like something to hold up for the tourists and for historical stuff. So his role is sort of similar to someone who, like, let's say, works in a museum, something like that. But it because it is technically is a monarchy, it's kind of political, but he has a duty, and I believe, in my opinion, that King Charles has been shirking his duty as the head of the Church of England. So if he's going to shirk it and fail to uphold his duty, then I think he needs to either abdicate the kingship, which, being the head of the Church of England, that's part of the kingship. So if you're a king and it's only a ceremonial role and you can't even fulfill your ceremonial duties, then you need to abdicate. That's what I think about him.
Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. Ladies and gentlemen, as Muslims across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth begin preparations to celebrate Eid after fasting for the holy month of Ramadan, I just wanted to convey my heartfelt best wishes to all who celebrate this festival, and to tell you just how much my wife and I are thinking of you at this special time of year.
That's enough of that video for now. It's just very cringy. Now, there's also various other clips that are available online. You can see the royal family members, sitting down, preparing dates, entering mosques, doing the whole thing where they like sit on the floor. Now, you have to understand that when Muslims...
Oh yeah, and this is Prince William here, who totally supports his father in all this. So I think if King Charles abdicated and was just replaced by Prince William as the new king, I don't think that would actually solve the problem. I think that Prince William also would need to abdicate if he's just going to do the same things where he refuses to fulfill his ceremonial duties when, his whole life is just a ceremonial role. I actually think that Prince Harry, who had his title stripped from him, would make a good king of England. And, the whole British royal family hates him. And I know a lot of people that, like Prince Harry, hate Meghan Markle. But I think that Prince Harry doesn't really want anything to do with the British royal family anymore. He's kind of had it. So even if it was offered to him, I think he very well might turn it down. But I think as far as people that are theoretically in line, although he's no longer in line because he's stripped of his title, I think Prince Harry is the one that I would favor. But, we might need to remove that role altogether. Like, do we really need the monarchy? Do we need that in Britain anymore? Maybe we don't need the monarchy. Maybe all of them need to be stripped of their titles and told that they need to go work at McDonald's. Yeah, no more money for you. If you can't walk around in the museum doing your tourist trap duties, maybe you just need to go work at McDonald's. Yeah, that's maybe what you need.
Sit on the floor. It's not just a personal preference. They're doing it because Muhammad was said to always sit on the floor. And so they're doing this as a way of imitating the life of Muhammad. There are various verses and hadiths, I think, that talk about, not drinking water when you stand up or when you're walking. So they always have to stop and sit down on the floor. And so when you have royal family members imitate this, what the Muslims are doing, they're actually trying to imitate what Muhammad is doing. Now, this is a big no-no in sacramental worldviews, in religious worldviews. Modern people seem to have misunderstood and forgotten this key fact. But the way you imitate things is the way you participate in them. And so if you are participating in the life of a different religion, if in the life of the Muslims and to imitate the life of Muhammad, you are participating in a different religion and therefore have cut your allegiance to your own faith, right? This is a big no-no amongst various religious groups, but it's particularly true within the Christian world. Like, you don't...
Yeah, and this would be true for ordinary members of the Church of England, but it would be particularly true for the head of the Church of England. Like, the head of any church has more obligations to not go and do the ceremonies of another religion in their religious place of worship. They have more duties to not do that. You got to avoid it because that's not who you are. And if it is who you are, then you need to give up your role.
Participate in the Hindu prayers. You don't participate in the Islamic festivals. You don't participate in doing, occult kind of practices or various yoga poses that are said to unlock certain spiritual channels and stuff. Like, this is not what Christians do. Modern people have a hard time wrapping their head around this, but essentially what's happening here is that the royal family are now starting to participate in the life of Muhammad, to participate in the Islamic way of doing things. This is a huge no-no. Not to mention the fact that the Ramadan celebrations and fasts that have just happened are all in celebration of the so-called revelation of the Quran to Muhammad as the final revelation. So if you have King Charles, who is supposed to be the defender of the Church of England in the UK, celebrating this, he's essentially saying that the Quran is true. He's saying that this is indeed a holy thing. This is not the deception of the demons. This is completely an honorable thing to believe in, despite the fact that it calls Christians the worst of all creatures, that glorifies the massacring of the non-Muslims. It's all throughout the Quran and the Hadiths. It's what led to this book, this so-called revelation to Muhammad. This led to the massacring of untold tens, if not hundreds of millions of Christians and other people over the course of the last 1400 years, the violent conquest and taking of Christian lands all throughout the Middle East and into Europe to this day. And what he's essentially doing here is glorifying the book which led to this, which led to the massacring of untold numbers of Christians. So you have to understand what this celebration was all about. And when he's glorifying it, you can actually see just how big of an insult this is. This is not a minor issue. This isn't just a little bit of diplomacy. This is a massive spit in the face towards the Christians and the countless millions upon millions of lives that have been lost due to the Islamic conquest, not to mention.
Yeah, this is like seriously sacrilegious behavior by a church head. So a very, very serious thing.
The Islamic slave trade and the Islamic sex slave trade and so on. But of course, it's not only King Charles, it's also Prince William and other members of the royal family, which I can just show you some videos on screen here. But what's I think most important is this little speech by this guy that came out the other day on X, because I think it really hits the nail on the head. Let's watch it.
Well, greetings, Your Majesty. I'm a dyed-in-the-wool monarchist, as was my father, and my father before him. We've held...
Oh, I think the subtitles were wrong there. Let me go backwards. Yeah, it says die to the wall. But what it means is dyed in the wool. Yeah, I think the subtitles were wrong there. That's a saying, dyed in the wool. I think that's what that means.
Monarchist, as was my father, and my father before him. We've held your mother's commission and your grandfather's commission in military service. And we listened patiently to your support for Islam through Ramadan. But I remind you, you're head of the Church of England, and that is a very critical role for you, which you don't seem to understand. And I'm not sure whether you're fully mentally well or not. If you're not, I wish you well. But it seems to me you have no real deep Christian faith, and neither does your son. Presumably you had a hand of bringing him up. This is a very important constitutional role as a Christian. And it now seems you're not going to give an Easter message, which I think confirms what many of your subjects have believed for some time, that you have somehow embraced the Islam faith. And that's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. I'm a libertarian.
No, that's a huge issue. And this is where libertarianism fails at a certain point. But anyway, let's watch.
You must embrace whatever faith you think appropriate, but not as king. Not as king. You must abdicate. And I would suggest similarly that your son must not take the throne, because it seems to me you do not understand what your role seriously is. You're one of...
Yeah, this guy's right. This was all the stuff that I was just saying earlier. It's if he can't fulfill the duties of his ceremonial role, he needs to put aside that ceremonial role and go work at McDonald's. Yeah, go work at McDonald's. Put the fries in the bag.
The richest men in the world, and you have a reputation, I could possibly comment on it, of being one of the meanest. What I'm suggesting to you is that you abdicate and get gone. Get thee gone. You are of no use to this country whatsoever. You have failed in every conceivable way in your relatively short period of time on the throne. In the name of God, go.
I agree with that. Let's watch this little clip here as well.
It's very suspicious. I mean, he's had very historical speeches about his love for Islam. I've got no issue with that. But when it came to him being the defender of the faith, we know within leaked news reports that actually there were talks about him potentially being the defender of all faiths.
Well, he's very keen. He's very keen for that. He made it one of the tenets of his new sovereignty. Can I be the monarch of all faiths? No, you can't. No, you can't.
Absolutely can't.
This is what he said last year. This is what he said last year when he did send us an Easter message on Maundy Thursday. He said, on Maundy Thursday, Jesus knelt and washed the feet of many of those who would abandon him. His humble action was a token of his love that knew no bounds or boundaries and is central to Christian belief. So far, so good. Then he said the love he showed when he walked the earth reflected the Jewish ethic of caring for the stranger and those in need of deep human instinct, echoed in Islam. and other religious traditions, and in the hearts
No, then at that point it just goes into nonsense. And look, he's shaking his head. He's shaking his head. He knows that.
of all of those who seek the good of others. Well, it just seems like this guy doesn't want to talk about Christianity unless he can bring in other religions. I think, given that this is this nation, the people of this nation, we are in a perilous state. People are worried, very worried, and quite rightly so. And I think his decision not to give us an Easter message on this of all years is a profound mistake.
Now, we need to break this down to fully understand the gravity and seriousness of what's going on. So first of all, Easter has always been the most important celebration within Christianity, far bigger than Christmas. Now, obviously that has changed in the West as the West has waned in its belief and started to value things like consumerism and materialism and just giving gifts. And Christmas has stopped being about the birth of Christ and more to do with, mistletoe and I don't know, giving presents and chocolates and stuff. But Easter has always been the most important celebration, right? Christmas is the start of Christ's life on earth, but Easter is the climax of that. It's the crucifixion, it's the destruction of the gates of hell, it's the resurrection, it's the hope, it's everything. It's all in the Easter celebration. And so, first of all, having the King of England and the head of the Church of England not celebrate this, not put out a public message, this is alarm bells. This is like, okay, guys, like this is it. It's like we now know the true colors of the King. We need to go into like code red. This is an emergency situation. The King needs to abdicate. We need to get rid of him if we want to preserve what the UK is.
Okay, so when I do reactions, a lot of times, unless it's something that I really have to watch the whole video, like a music video or so on, a lot of times I like to stop at around the halfway mark because I don't want to feel like a parasitic reactor, and I want to encourage my viewers to go to the original video so they can see the whole thing for themselves. So we're at almost 10 minutes of an 18-minute video, so we're at about the halfway mark right here, and you can see how insightful this guy is. And being of Iranian heritage, he has a very deep insight into this. And he's also a Christian, and he's a British person. So he's got a bunch of points where he can get deep insight into this, and see how smart he seems to be. So I'm sure that there's a lot of other stuff later on in this video that'll be real interesting to you if you made it this far in my reaction video. So I'll have the link in the description, and then that's the end of my reaction right there. Really interesting and really alarming stuff here. And yeah, he said this chapter is called Code Red that I stopped on here. Yeah, it's code red. It's code red in there. Very sad stuff.